Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with the smack cabin. Bye up, bye up. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit the like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I appreciate the support. I'm very humbled. And another one. So we have another one. This case has actually been going on and I've been monitoring it and kind of peeping out the situation and waiting until I got all my ducks in a row to speak on it, man. And it's the Melodee Buzzard case. Okay. Another little girl missing. And I'll be totally honest with you, with all the information that is out there, there's a different twist every day. I want to bring you as much of an accurate point and perspective as I can. So that's why I've been sitting on this case. I've had my thumbnail made for a while now. And this is a big case going out in Santa Barbara County out there in Lompoc, California, right? Where a child was reported missing by her school teacher. You know, there's a lot of people that are able nowadays to get away with the disappearance of a child for a while because I wouldn't even say a long time ago, but I'd say probably the last few years, more people are starting to homeschool their children. So that means the system has less eyes on the child. You know, when the child is in public school, if a kid starts to miss school consistently, they're going to call. They're going to want to know why that child has not went to school. And especially if someone is receiving government assistance, it is almost mandatory that child must show up to school. If not, it's on you as a parent. You're responsible for that child being at school promptly, being there consistently. When a child, and I know even if my daughter is sick, you have to call in every day, let them know, because they will send you text messages on your phones. Your child missed this period, your child missed that period. And they alert you so that way you can be a concerned parent to know what your child is doing. See, it's no longer like it used to be in the 80s and the 90s with us, when it was we could just ditch school and get away with it because they wouldn't call home. Sometimes they would, sometimes they wouldn't. But more than likely they wouldn't. They weren't too concerned. Well, nowadays with all this child abduction, trafficking, and everything that's going on, a lot of these teachers are concerned. Now, does that mean the system messes up sometimes? Oh, they mess up a lot of times. But in the case of Melodee Buzzard, if it wasn't for the school teacher being concerned with her not going to school as much as she should, then we would have never known what was up, right? Now, Melodee Buzzard has a parent. The father is not in the picture. She has a parent, Ashley Buzzard, okay? Ashley is being investigated. This is not a murder investigation quite yet, but it is an investigation that is ongoing, and they're looking into the disappearance of Melodee. Obviously, her mother didn't report her missing, okay? It took the teacher bringing the attention of the authority, or bringing it to the attention of the authorities before they actually went to her home and started questioning her. This child has been missing, it looks like now, for over a year. Okay, if not over a year, it's a while. Thursday, which was just last week, the authorities actually for the first time pulled up and they actually went to Melodee Buzzard's front door and removed the mother from the residence so that they could search her home and her car. I'm going to read you guys an article of what exactly happened, so that way you know. This is kind of a background to what's going on. For nearly 3 weeks, 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard has been missing. Excuse me, not a year. I'm getting mixed up with another story. It's been 3 weeks. And the mystery surrounding the disappearance took a new turn as the FBI is now involved, right? The agents searched the family's California home. On Thursday, detectives escorted Melodee's mother from the property. Her name is Ashley Buzzard. And they took her to a different location so that she would not interfere with their ability to conduct a thorough search. That's what the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office said in a press release, okay? It is starting to gain attention, national attention. These murders of children, these disappearances of children sometimes get swept under the rug and they don't get their justice. I'm just happy that this case is getting the eyes on it that it finally deserves. Local authorities assisted the FBI. They also searched a storage locker and a rental car believed to have been used on a multi-state road trip that the mother and daughter took shortly before the child vanished. So they took a trip. The mother came back. The daughter hasn't been seen since. Melodee's disappearance was brought to light on October 14th when a Lompoc school district official reported her prolonged absence. Again, like I said, if a child is missing for a substantial amount of time, they become concerned. Where's this child? Why aren't they going to school? And it's like I said again, it falls onto the lap of the parents. The parents are responsible for their child going to school. If you have a child that ditches or cuts class or whatever, they're going to bring that to light, and then you have to deal with that accordingly. But you are totally responsible for your child. You're the parent. You're an adult. They're a child. Deputies who went to the family home in Lompoc said that they spoke with Ashley, but no variable explanation for Melodee's whereabouts was provided, according to the sheriff's office. Now, according to what I heard when they first talked to Ashley, she was uncooperative. Who the fuck doesn't have an excuse for where your kid's at? Okay? You have a child. Where are they at? I know where my kid's at right now, all of them. Okay? You don't go to a parent. If a parent does not know where their child is at, that's because a parent put them somewhere they're not supposed to be. That's right off the top. If they're at a friend's house, they're at a friend's house. If they're in the backyard, they're in the backyard. If they're on playing Roblox, they're playing Roblox. I know a lot of you parents know about Roblox. That shit is expensive, man. I don't care what kind of skins you want to buy on Fortnite and Roblox. I ain't paying for that shit. But you understand what I'm saying. They're eating Takis. You know what I'm saying? They're in the bathroom. Like, where your kid's at when the law enforcement goes and says, hey, we're calling about your, we're doing a welfare check on your child. Where's your child? I don't know. Well, bitch, why haven't you reported her missing if you don't know? Anyways, investigators now believe that she was seen a week earlier on October 7th and may have been driven to Nebraska by her mother. Surveillance photos released last week appear to show the missing girl possibly in disguise. Why would they put her in disguise? Why would she? What is going on? I've heard a lot of different theories. Sex trafficking, her mother sold her, just didn't want to deal with her and got rid of her. And I'm starting to notice a pattern here. There's a lot of parents that are doing that, man. There's actually a chick on TikTok who makes light and fun of the situation of getting rid of her children. It's this world we live in is sick and twisted and crazy, right? We're supposed to love our children and protect them and make sure they eat and they're clean. But nowadays, people want to make jokes about the disappearance of their children and stuff. This woman right here is definitely fucking suspicious. Something's going on. The Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office said the images of the girl, her hood pulled tight, her hair hidden beneath a dark wig, were captured October 7th at a Lompoc car rental business days before she vanished. Why would she have her child in disguise? Why would she not want her child's identity being shown? Was something going on in the home? Was the mother involved in some type of illegal activities, or maybe her and her child were in danger? Obviously, she wasn't in enough danger because she went back home. Her child never returned, obviously. I don't put it past nothing, man. Sometimes women will meet men and get in these fucking crazy relationships, and it's threatening to the child. So the mother figures, you know what, let me get my child out the way. Let me put her somewhere where she's safe, where no one knows where she's at, so I can deal with my issues my own way. That could be the case. Again, why wouldn't a mother say that to investigators and alert them and let them know this is what's going on? If your child is safe, but you're still in the home, obviously the threat isn't as real as you thought it was. But that's just one of my theories. Investigators have narrowed the critical timeline to October 7th and October 10th, when Buzzard is believed to have driven from Lompoc to Nebraska and back in the white Chevrolet Malibu rental car. The rental car is no longer in the mother's possession. She brought it back. It is what it is. Investigators understand that this 3-day road trip went from Lompoc, to Nebraska, the Nebraska area, with the return trip including the state of Kansas. Okay. Again, I don't know what she was doing, if she was visiting family, friends, or taking her child out there to get rid of her. And when I say get rid of her, maybe stash her with a friend, a family member, or even sell her into the system. We don't know yet, right? The sheriff's officer said last week, detectives are now focused on determining whether Melodee was with her during those 3 days and where she may be now. Investigators believe the wig seen in the photos may have been used to alter the child's appearance. They also noted that Ashley is known to wear wigs. The mother has been uncooperative, okay, and has not provided any information about her daughter's whereabouts, police added. It's kind of strange, huh? Your child's missing. It's becoming big news. The investigators are there. The FBI's there. Everybody wants to know, where is your child? Why wouldn't you at that point, if you try to place your child somewhere and help her, not say it? What's really going on here? Is this a child trafficking case? Did you murder your daughter? Can this be another Jake and Rebecca Hara hola situation? More than likely, man, there's some tricky shit going on. I don't know about you, man, but I'm going to be very cooperative if my child is missing. I would have been called on day one within 5 minutes of my child not being right where she's supposed to be. That's just me. I guess it's just the type of parent I am, the way I was taught. But I'm a very concerned parent. Okay, I'm going to do whatever I have to do and spend whatever amount of money I have to make sure that my child is safe and that she's in the home that she needs to be in. That's a fucking 100% facts over my dead body. I'll just say that. Okay. Melodee is considered at risk due to her age and length of her absence. Absolutely. The detectives are following every lead in this case. They continue to seek information from the public that could help them find Melodee. Santa Barbara County Sheriff Bill Brown said, we remain determined to bring her home safely. I hope so. I hope they don't do what they did in the Baby Emmanuel case and take the first story that's given to them. I hope they do their proper investigation and really look into this situation because the mother is definitely suspicious. Very suspicious. Very. Relatives on Melodee's father's side say they have not seen her in years. Local authorities say there has been no confirmed sightings of Melodee within the last year, right? Other than they got her wearing a wig or whatever. Could this be that they're hiding from the father? She's trying to keep her daughter away from the father's family? Or could this be a situation where, like I said, the mother got involved in a tricky situation and she needed to either hide her daughter or she sold her daughter into captivity? Anything's possible in this twisted world. She hasn't let us see her for a few years, Melodee's Aunt Bridget Truitt said. Right. And all of us have tried and we have never stopped thinking about her or loving her or praying for her. Look, man, if you pull up. Okay. I understand when the relationship between two people becomes estranged and it becomes to the point where the mother or the father, whoever has possession of the child or whoever the child has custody of the child, doesn't want the family to see the baby because they're upset with the guy or the guy's upset with the girl. It goes both ways, right? I understand all that. But that's the problem. It's not their fault. It's not the family's fault. You can't do that because, what if you need them? So, I'm going to tell you guys a quick story before we get right back to this. My first baby's mother, I was way younger than her. I was 19 years old, 18, 19 when I got with her. She was already in her 30s. Beautiful woman, right? Can never say none about her looks. If not, and ass. If she didn't have that, I wouldn't talk to her. But we were together and it wasn't the greatest relationship. She still was in party mode. I was in trying to be a dad mode. And that's just honesty, right? But I still was gangbanging. I still was getting high with the homies, doing drugs, weed, cocaine, not really weed, but cocaine, stuff like that, partying on the weekends like a gang member does. And so I wasn't the fittest parent, but I was trying, but we argued a lot. It just wasn't a good, stable environment for a child in the home. And so eventually I got locked up. Time heals all wounds. She ends up moving on. I get out. I'm content with that. See you later. Now, years later, we remain we have a cordial relationship because of my child. I would pick my child up on the weekends. I got married. I got with another woman. I would make sure that I pick my child up every weekend so she could learn my home. And, we had that bond. We had that relationship. This is my oldest child. She's now almost 30 years old with my grandchildren. But anyways, we did that for several years. And so in the meantime, in between time, me and her mother weren't friends, but we were co-parenting. Okay. I knew her mother wasn't the best and I wasn't the best at the same time, but we were doing the best we could to raise a daughter to become successful. Okay. Her mother wasn't into drugs. She wasn't into that. She just had an issue with having the right men around her. Just the truth. Right. And I had my issues with my picker was broke too. I didn't always choose the right women, but we put our kid first, or at least I did. She always, one thing I respected about her was she always, no matter what type of situation me and her were in, she always showed my family love. She never kept my family away from my daughter. She always kept them in the loop. She would give them weekly phone calls. They always knew where she was at. Sometimes they knew where she was at when I didn't. Okay. Cause I'd get locked up and stupid things I was doing. I was young and dumb. I'm locked up out of state, right? I'm doing some time. And I used to call my mother every Friday. You call your parent, you let them know, hey, this is what's going on. This is what happened this week. I got out the hole or whatever. Right. And my mom tells me, hey, your baby's mom called. And at this point, I already had 2 babies' moms. So I'm like, well, which one? The first one. All right, cool. What's up? And me and her, it was kind of like we were cordial, but again, I couldn't stand her and she couldn't stand me, but we're cordial. If you understand where I'm coming from, right? A lot of people go through that bullshit. My mom says, yeah, she's coming up here to live with me. I said, what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean she's coming up there to live with you? Look, her and my granddaughter called. She has no place to go. No one's helping her out. Her family, they're done. They're done with her. She's the place to stay. I'm going to give her a place to stay. Her and her daughter. I said, nah, hell no, nah, right? But she did. She ended up moving in with my mother, then moved in with my sister, whatever. For like a year, she lived around my family. And again, whatever my daughter needs, it's good. The thing is, I respect her because she never kept her away. Okay, then she ended up moving back and doing her thing. But that's what I'm saying. You keep that door open. It's not the family's fault that your relationship didn't work out. You didn't get what you wanted out of the relationship. In Melodee Buzzard's case, right, her mother was keeping her away from the father's family, or so they say. Okay, so let's keep reading. I just wanted to throw that in there to say, man, I've never experienced my baby mothers keeping my children away from my family. It just, they understand enough to know that it's not their fault. The sheriff's office shares the community's concern for Melodee's safety, and they are committed to bringing her home. Sheriff Brown added, we are hopeful that Melodee might be with someone, perhaps an extended family member or friend, who may not be aware of the circumstances of her disappearance, right? Melodee is described as 4 feet 6 inches tall, weighing about 60 pounds. She's a little baby still, with brown hair and brown eyes. We appreciate the FBI's assistance in today's searches. Sheriff Lieutenant Chris Gottschall from the Criminal Investigation Division said, in cases like this, every detail matters. Absolutely. Just like the baby Emmanuel case, every detail mattered. Okay. Even when it comes to social media and word of mouth and people putting the story out there, it always matters. It's just crazy, man. I can't believe this little girl's missing and her mom didn't report her. Her mom's definitely fucking guilty of something. Guilty of being ignorant and stupid at the very least. You know, and again, if she's in danger or she did something and she had put her child with a family member or a friend, why wouldn't you say it already? Why would you continue to work against the police? I would think at this point, man, there's a child missing here. It's confirmed the child is missing and the parent is being uncooperative. That's my first suspect. You are under arrest for no other reason than being a stupid ass. That's just me. This case remains a missing persons investigation. There have been no arrests made in the case. Okay. And then it goes on to give you a number to call, which I'm not going to do. The last time I did that, YouTube flagged me for it. I guess they don't want me putting phone numbers out there where you can contact the authorities to help. But there you can go online and look it up. The Melodee Buzzard case. It's a very alarming case, and there's a lot more twists and turns than even baby Emmanuel's case, because they're not saying she's dead. It's just an active investigation to a missing child. But you know, the other video that I did with the boyfriend and the mother and the aunt, who actually pretty much had that child was missing for over a year, and they found her in a barrel, and they just went to they're on trial and all that. You know, it's just alarming, you know, that these cases, they hit close to home. And I'm just glad that these investigations are really being looked into nowadays, because a lot of these get swept under the rug. We don't hear a lot about them. So it's going to be justice for Melodee Buzzard right here. We're going to find out where she's at eventually, hopefully. You know, if it turns into a criminal investigation as far as murder or anything like that, that's going to be very unfortunate. But we got to pray and hope that she's okay and that her mother's just going through some things. Now, like I said, there's a lot of different perspectives. A lot of people are saying she may have sold her into child trafficking. I've seen it before. Okay, I've seen a woman utilize her child to make her money. And I told you guys a story. I had to get the kid out of there, right? I've seen another situation where a woman that had a known abuser and a known predator, even though it was her child, living with her and was allowing him to be around her young children. I've seen a lot of these different cases. It's upsetting, but it's a fact of life. You know, again, I don't understand. I mean, I understand why the investigators have not yet arrested the mother. There's no proof of a murder or anything like that yet. But just a woman not being cooperative and not working with the FBI and the cops to find their missing child is crazy. Just that in itself, you're my prime suspect. You know, what's the excuse? What is she telling these cops when they're like, hey, how do you not know where your kid's at? Is she saying that she's a runaway? You know, them stories have been put out there, because I can understand a kid running away, but this is a very young child. They're usually easily found. Again, when they're last seen on a road trip and she's wearing a disguise, why is she wearing a fucking disguise? Either her mother wanted her to hide, who she was from that camera because she was taking her somewhere she wasn't supposed to be. Or again, it could be a situation where the mother was hiding her to get her to safety. We could all be wrong about Ashley. Maybe Ashley's not as bad as people are thinking she is, but she is definitely fucking stupid. Let me know what you guys think. This is an ongoing investigation. I will keep on it. I will be giving you guys weekly updates on it. And hopefully, just hopefully, this child is found. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. I got so many videos going out today. I don't even know where to begin or to end. Let's get some justice for Melodee Buzzard.